And good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of 956 Sports Softball Playoff Edition. The PSJA Memorial Lady Wolverines are going to be taking on the Edinburg North Lady Cougars in the 6A Regional Quarterfinal. This broadcast is sponsored by the Y Drive-In, open weekly 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your propane, gas, and groceries at the Y Drive-In. So it's located on 3.5 miles off of 107 in Edinburg. So again, our sponsored the Y Drive-In in Edinburg. So welcome to the pregame show. Kevin Arrow alongside with Christy Leal. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be back in a moment. And welcome back to 956sports.com. Between the Edinburg North Cougars and the PSJ Memorial Lady Wolverines, this broadcast is sponsored by the Y Drive-In. Stop by at the Y Drive-In and get your propane, gas, and groceries. The Y Drive-In open weekly from 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. The Y Drive-In service with a smile, located 3.5 miles off of 107 in Edinburg. So once again, Kevin Aro alongside our special guest, Christy Leal, the head coach of the San Benito Lady Greyhounds. Coach, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much for having me today.
So we are in the third round of the 6A playoffs, and we're in a unique situation this time of year where there are only 4 teams left in the Valley, 4 of those coming from District 31 6A. The Edinburg Bobcats and the Westlaco Panthers will do battle tomorrow night, which is also a best-of-3 series. This series with Edinburg North and PSJ Memorial is a best-of-3 series. Game 1 is just moments away. So, Coach, just real quick before we jump into the action, what are your thoughts on both these teams and what this series could bring?
You know, definitely these teams are very deserving to be in this position. They fought their way here, and it's pretty remarkable how 31-6A is still alive right now. I think that, they really prepared each other to get to this point. It'll be interesting to see who comes out and with that W tonight.
The District 31 6A, the talk the past few weeks, what is the toughest district in softball as far as competitiveness? I think the answer is simple at this point in the year. Edinburg North and PSJ Memorial, a part of 31 6A. 31 6A as a district going 7-0 against both 32 and 30 6A throughout the playoffs. So here we are, game 1 of a best-of-3 series. Let's meet the starting lineup for the Edinburg North Lady Cougars. Leading it off is Jackie Longoria. Batting second is Aisa Maldonado. Batting third is Claudia Lopez. In the cleanup spot is Abby Hinojosa. In the fifth hole is Andrea Ruiz. Batting sixth is Hope Rodriguez. Batting seventh is Carolina Garcia. In the eighth hole, Brianna Salinas. And rounding up the Lady Cougars starting lineup is Maria Garza. So that is the starting lineup for the Edinburg North Lady Cougars. So once again, Kevin Aro alongside Christy Leal for game 1 of this best-of-3 series between the Lady Cougars and the Lady Wolverines. The Edinburg North Lady Cougars did sweep the district series throughout the regular season and did beat PSJ Memorial back in February at the Mission Tournament. But as everybody says, it's a clean slate. It's a brand new season here in the postseason. So Longoria will be leading it off for Edinburg North. Longoria, one of the fastest girls on the team, primarily a slap hitter. She'll be batting from the left-handed side of the plate. We're about underway here. First pitch from the Lady Wolverines. That is a ball outside to Longoria.
This kid is batting .564 on the season. That's pretty remarkable for a leadoff spot.
She does lead the team with 62 hits on the year, 18 RBIs. The 1-0 pitch called for a strike on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike is the count. Let's meet the starting outfield for the Lady Wolverines. Out and left is Emily Garcia. Out and right is Samantha Fuentes. And the freshman, Christy Alanis, who has opened some eyes here in this postseason. She's playing center field. That pitch painting the outside corner. The count goes to 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's the starting infield for the Lady Wolverines. Playing the corners of the infield is Sanaya Santa Maria. She's playing third base. That pitch is fouled back. On the first base side is Dominique Cantu. Those are the corners of the infield.
Amanda Aguilera seems to be favoring that screwball right now, really hitting that outside corner.
She is the starting pitcher for the Lady Wolverines. And the pitch swung on and missed. First strikeout of the night. This brings up Aisa Maldonado. So we were talking earlier about how the Coach Tressler had to switch up the lineup. Aisa originally started the year at second base. She's playing shortstop tonight because of the injuries. Aisa can also do some pitching. She's second in line behind Longoria. Maldonado steps in, batting from the right-handed side of the plate. Pitch inside, called for ball 1. Middle of the infield for the Lady Wolverines, Ashley Castillo is the shortstop. Elisa Elizondo is the second baseman. That's the middle infield. The 1-0 pitch high. 2 balls. No strikes now to Maldonado. Claudia Lopez is the batter up. She's batting third. Victoria Maldonado is doing the catching for the Lady Wolverines. That's your starting defense for the home squad. That pitch in for a call. Strike one. Count runs 2 balls and 1 strike.
Definite meatball. Don't think it's going to get any better than that.
Maldonado batting .412 on the year. 42 runs, 25 hits. Pulled to the left field side and well foul. Count now runs even at 2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out. The Edinburg North Cougars are coached by Richard Tressler, who is in his 20th year of coaching. He's aided by his longtime partner, Adrian Cavazos. He's over on the first base side. The Lady Cougars here in the top half of the first inning, no score. Swing and a miss, back-to-back strikeouts.
Aguilera is doing a great job keeping these kids on their toes, moving the ball.
Aguilera did pitch in Game 3 of their series against Mackay, where she pitched 7 shutout innings. She went the distance. Coming to the plate is now the two-sport athlete, Claudia Lopez. She's the center fielder. Claudia had that big game against EHS in the middle of district season, hitting 2 3-run home runs in that game. She fouls off the first pitch, back and out of play. For strike number 1, Abby Unojosa waiting on deck, and that's where the lineup starts to get a little bit dangerous for Edinburg North when you get into the 3, 4, 5 hitters. .58 hits and 54 runs for Lopez. Both of them are team highs. Or rather, she's second in hits behind Jackie with 62. Aguilera sets. That pitch inside. 2 balls, 1 strike to count, 2 down here in the top of the first. Best of 3 series between the Lady Cougars and the Lady Wolverines. The dimensions out in the outfield, 225 center and both right and left. That pitch just missing for a called ball 3. It's the hitter's count, 3 balls, 1 strike. Lopez ahead in the count. The 3-1 swung on, fouled back and out of play. The count runs full, 3 balls, 2 strikes to Lopez. Hinojosa waiting on deck. Aguilera now flirting with striking out the side here in the top half of the first inning. Here's the 3-2 payoff pitch. Called strike 3 on the outside corner. Striking out the side is Aguilera. The Lady Cougars go down in order 1, 2, 3 midway through the first. No score. This broadcast is brought to you by the Y Drive-In, open weekly from 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your propane, gas, and grocery. The Y Drive-In, service with a smile, located 3.5 miles off of 107 in Edinburg. Midway through the first, no score. You're listening to 956sports.com. Welcome back to the action. Bottom half of the first inning. The Lady Wolverines are coming to the plate. Leading it off is Christy Alanis. Batting second is Elisa Elizondo. Batting third is Amanda Aguilera. Sanaí Santa Maria is batting fourth. Batting fifth is Victoria Maldonado. Batting in the sixth spot is Dominique Cantu. In the seventh spot is Emily Garcia. And the eighth hole is Ashley Castillo. And batting ninth is Samantha Fuentes. That's the starting lineup for the home team. So the speedster Alanis digs into the box, batting from the left-handed side of the plate. First pitch is in for a called strike one looking.
You know, Christy Alanis is really one of the best leadoff hitters that I've seen in the Valley this year, and only a freshman.
I think that's what wows most people as you look at her and you say, wow, she's only a freshman with already this playoff experience coming into the third round, and she plays like she's a senior.
This kid works well under pressure, definitely.
Longoria gets ahead in the count early. No balls, 2 strikes. Here's the 0-2 from Longoria. Pitch out for ball one. Let's meet the starting infield for the Lady Cougars. Doing the catching tonight is Abby Hinojosa. In the circle for the Lady Cougars is the junior Jackie Longoria. That pitch slapped the other way and foul. Middle of the infield, Aisa Maldonado is the shortstop. And Brianna Salinas is the second baseman. And Salinas, who started the year in left field, went to right field, and again with the injuries, had to move into second base, so a lot of adjustments for Coach Tressler. Here's the 1-2 from Longoria. Missing inside. Count runs even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hope Rodriguez, the freshman, is at the hot corner at third. Andrea Ruiz is over at first. That pitch swung on. That's going to be a base hit back up the middle.
Next, number 2, Eliza Elizondo.
Eliza Elizondo comes to the plate, and just like that, the Lady Wolverines have a runner aboard.
Wow, interesting to see how much that third baseman is crashing.
First pitch is in for a called strike one. That's Hope Rodriguez, the starting third baseman. The 0-1, missing, count will run even, 1 ball, 1 strike. Amanda Aguilera is waiting in the on-deck circle. Here's the 1-1, 1 runner aboard on first. Swung on, chopper to the third base side, fair. 5-3, 1 out. Alanis moves over. She's now in scoring position.
Number 27, Amanda Aguilera.
Aguilera now comes to the plate, and a base hit here can score Alanis easily with her speed. So that's what you would call a productive out in softball and baseball. With 1 out, you move your runner over. First pitch from Longoria is fouled back and out of play. No balls and 1 strike to the batter. And the outfield for Edinburg North, Carolina Garcia is in left, Maria Garza is in right, and Claudia Lopez will be patrolling center field. Here's the 0-1 with 1 down. That pitch inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Alanis, they're paying a lot of attention to her out there at second. Here's the 1-1. Outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Santa Maria in the on-deck circle. In the bottom half of the first inning, no score. Hinojosa again doing the catching for the Lady Cougars. That pitch is popped up, playable for Ruiz, calling it off. Makes the grab. 2 down.
Up next is number 11, Sanay Santa Maria.
Sanaya Santa Maria comes to the plate. She's the cleanup batter. So Longoria has put it together after surrendering a leadoff single, retiring the next 2. 2 down for Santa Maria. Taking all the way for a called strike one.
Santa Maria, also a freshman on this ball club, and she's got power, let me tell you. She deserves to be in that cleanup spot right now.
And the wind should be somewhat of a factor here this evening. That pitch well outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Jackie Longoria really trying to get those batters to chase here. Throwing out, throwing up. Doesn't seem to be working yet, but we'll see what's happening.
The 1-1 swung on to the third base side. Rodriguez over to first and throws offline. This is going to score 1 run. And holding up on second is Santa Maria. So what looks to be a routine play turns into a run for the Lady Wolverines.
Up next, number 25, Victoria May Maldonado.
Victoria May Maldonado is now at the plate. And in games like these with teams that are so similar, or rather so familiar with each other, it's plays like that can determine the outcome. So the Lady Wolverines taking advantage of that right away as they take a 1-0 lead. Two down in the inning. Pitch called for strike 1. Dominique Cantu, the senior, she's waiting in the on-deck circle. Infield now playing back with 2 outs. That one's going to be looped in, just fouled down the left field side. No balls, 2 strikes. Bottom of the first. The 0-2 low and away, trying to get her to chase. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Maldonado. Here's the 1-2 outside. Again, Hinojosa setting up outside, trying to get her to chase. Count will run at 2-2.
Maldonado doing a great job at being patient here. You can tell she's really up on that plate, trying to get something thrown in.
The 2-2 is called strike 3 looking, but not before the Lady Wolverines get on the board. We are through 1. Lady Wolverines 1. Edinburg North nothing. This broadcast is sponsored by the Y Drive-In. The Y Drive-In open weekly 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your propane, gas, and groceries. The Y Drive-In, service with a smile, located 3.5 miles off of 107 in Edinburg. We are through 1. Lady Wolverines 1. Lady Cougars nothing. You're listening to 956sports.com. And welcome back to Alamo Cavanaro, joined by Christy Leal. We are here in the top half of the second inning. Lady Wolverines lead 1-0 in this game 1 of best of 3 series. Hinojosa leading it off for the Lady Cougars, 4-5-6. The heart of the order up for Edinburg North. Swinging on the first pitch as this popped up left center field. Alanis on the run, making the catch, but dropped it at the last second. It almost looked as if she kind of snow-coned it there.
There we got a glimpse of Alanis's speed. Would have been a nice shoestring catch, but great effort by that center fielder.
So just like that, we have a runner aboard for Edinburg North, Andrea Ruiz, who was hurt early in the year but now has made her way back. And we have a pinch runner over at first base.
Number 2, Jessica Diaz.
Jessica Diaz, the freshman, will be pinch running over at first. Or a courtesy runner. Courtesy runner, yes. It's going to be a sac bunt here. Over and dropped at first. For a moment, the runner was out at first, but in and out of the glove of Fuentes, rather Dominique Cantu, the first baseman.
Up next is number 9, Hope Rodriguez.
You know, and that looked like more of a push bunt. Third baseman over there, number 11. Santa Maria Sanai Santa Maria had showed a little bit of her arm speed and strength there.
So just like that, the Lady Cougars have runners on first and second, and Hope Rodriguez coming to the plate. And with Diaz on second, looking to display her speed here, and with one swing of the bat, could potentially tie this ball game up. Nobody out here in the top half of the second inning. Rodriguez, Garcia, Salinas. The lineup for Edinburg North. Runners on first and second. And again, a push right back to the pitcher. Over to third for the force out.
Great decision by Aguilera right there.
Up next is number 15, Carolina Garcia.
Carolina Garcia now comes to the plate, and that's what not you want, or that isn't what you want from your hitter there, to bunt right back to the pitcher. You want to give your lead runner a shot. So back to square one, runners on first and second. This time there's one out in the inning. Swing and a miss on the first pitch for strike one. Brianna Salinas, the senior, waiting in the on-deck circle. That pitch is fouled back and out of play. No balls, 2 strikes to Garcia. Again, one down in the inning. It's a 1-0 ball game here in the top of the second. Runners on first and second for Edinburg North. That pitch high and a good snag from Maldonado. Going upstairs to get that one. 1 ball and 2 strikes. We'll try it again. Here's the 1-2. Pulled, and that one will be well foul. Counter remain at 1-2.
That was a glimpse of Aguilera's changeup there, or off speed. Garcia did a good job fighting it off, protecting the plate. We'll see what she can do.
So a good at-bat here from Garcia. Count stays at 1-2. Here's the pitch. High and outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The count runs even.
Good idea by Aguilera trying to get her to chase in that count. She's still ahead. We'll see what happens.
2-2 on the way, 1 down. Runners on first and second. And again, this one's fouled back and out of play. A little battle brewing here with Aguilera and Garcia. So again, the Lady Cougars swept Harlingen in the by-district round. And then Nikki Rowe took them to 3 games. The Lady Cougars were down 1-0 in that series and came back and won the next 2. That one high and outside. Count will run full. 3 balls, 2 strikes to the batter, Garcia. The 3-2 swung onto the shortstop, off her heel. This one's going to get into the outfield. Tressler sending the runner, and she's going to be safe at first, and just like that, we are tied at 1-1.
That was a great at-bat by Garcia, really battling and finding her pitch and driving it.
Up next is number 5, Brianna Salinas.
So Brianna Salinas, the lefty, now comes to the plate. The Lady Cougars just tied the ball game and could potentially take their first lead of the night with just one down, runners on first and second. 8-9-1, the order due up for Edinburg North. Here in the top of the second inning. First pitch in for a called strike one to Salinas.
You know, this game is looking like it's really going to come down to who's making fundamental plays. Both runs scored were unearned.
That pitch fouled back. Off the fence, no balls, 2 strikes. And again, like we said before the game, it's really unique that these teams played against each other throughout the years, so the girls know what's coming. And the coach is familiar with what the players have. Aguilera ahead on the count, 0-2. Nice frame, but just outside for ball 1. Salinas quickly steps back into the box. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1-1, top of the second. That pitch slowly hit the other way to the third base side, over to first, and in time. 5-3 put out.
Up next is number 11, Maria Garza.
Both runners advance. Both are now in scoring position for the number 9 hitter, Maria Garza. So an interesting spot here, and a big spot. We're only in the top of the second inning. 1-1 with both runners in scoring position for the Lady Cougars. First pitch called strike one. Longoria in the on-deck circle, back to the top of the order for Edinburg North.
Good work by Maldonado, keeping it in front.
That pitch in the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitch swung on, and this one's foul. One ball, 2 strikes to the batter. Lady Wolverines looking to get out of a jam here in the top half of the second. They took the early lead 1-0. Edinburg North answered back with a run of their own. Now they're threatening with 2 runners on. And Garza at the plate. And the pitch swung on and missed, and a big strikeout for the Lady Wolverines. Midway through the second, Lady Wolverines 1, Edinburg North 1. This broadcast is sponsored by the Y Drive-In, open weekly from 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your propane, gas, and groceries. The Y Drive-In, service with a smile, located 3.5 miles off 107 in Edinburg. You're listening to 956sports.com. Welcome back to Alamo. Kevin Arrow joined by Christy Leal. We're in the bottom half of the second inning. 6-7-8, the order due up for the Lady Wolverines. The senior Dominique Cantu will be leading it off. 1-1's your score. Longoria in the circle for the Lady Cougars. So again, this is a best of 3 series. The winner here would advance to take on either Canyon or Reagan. in the Sweet 16. First pitch missing for ball 1. Here's the 1-0 from Longoria. Swung on, base hit into left field.
Up next is number 16, Emily Garcia.
Cantu gets aboard with a leadoff single. Emily Garcia now comes to the plate. Seen a lot of the leadoff hitters get on board. First pitch in for a called strike 1. Playing small ball too is what we're seeing early on from both these clubs. Showing bunt. Slashing, or rather a slap, hit into left field. It's going to get past the left fielder, but both runners are going to stay there. Cantu moves over to second. Garcia gets aboard with a nice piece of hitting. So both offenses turning it on early, just leaving runners on base, and right out of the gate with no outs, the Lady Wolverines have runners on first and second. First pitch swinging, fouled back. Ashley Castillo is the batter. 8-9-1, the order due up. Coach Rodriguez over on the third base side. So this is the only softball game going on tonight in the Valley, really the only sporting event going on in the Valley. High school baseball will continue tomorrow night and through Saturday, and Edinburg High and Weslaco will start their series tomorrow night in Weslaco. We'll talk about that one a little bit later in this broadcast. Swing and a miss. Longoria gets ahead in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. Longoria Jr. on the varsity. Been a part of the varsity all 3 years. The 0-2 is outside. Edinburg North with 5 seniors, 3 juniors, 1 sophomore, and 2 freshmen on their roster. And a swing and a miss for a strikeout. That's out number 1.
Up next is number 3, Sam Fuentes.
Longoria did a great job at having Castillo chase that one on the outside corner. Big out there.
Samantha Fuentes comes to the plate, batting 9th. In the order, showing bunt. And the infield crashing there. That was in for a called strike 1. No balls, 1 strike to Fuentes. Alanis in the on-deck circle, back to the top of the order for the Lady Wolverines. That pitch popped up. And Maldonado, the shortstop, will make the grab. 2 big outs for Longoria after
Up next is number 99,
surrendering
Christy
back-to-back hits. The Lady Cougars now have 2 down, but we go back to the top of the order to Christy Alanis, who is 1 for 1 and scored a run in the first inning. Called strike 1 looking. Alanis Hardy showing she wants to slap and hit the other way. Kind of getting that running start. Here's the 0-1. Misses low. Good eye there from Alanis. 1 ball, 1 strike. That pitch well missed. Low and in.
Edinburg North looking like they're playing just a regular type of defense, really not coming in much.
This one's hit to the shortstop. Maldonado goes over to third and in time for out number 3. So we are through 2. We're all tied at 1 run apiece. You're listening to 956sports.com. This broadcast is brought to you by the Y Drive-In, open weekly from 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your propane, gas, and grocery Y Drive-In. Service with a smile, located 3.5 miles off of 107 in Edinburg. We are through 2. We're all tied at 1. You're listening to 956sports.com. Welcome back to the action in the top of the 3rd inning here in Alamo. Top of the order, due up for the Lady Cougars, Jackie Longoria. He's going to foul this one the other way. For strike 1. Aisa Maldonado in the on-deck circle. Longoria has hope for 1, struck out her first time. Aguilera looking to duplicate that here in the 3rd. And Longoria showing a good eye there on that off-speed. Hitting it the other way. Staying alive in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. Could you hit the changeup when you played? Were you a good changeup hitter, fastball hitter?
I could sit back on it.
Here's the 0-2. And that pitch outside for ball 1.
Aguilera doing a great job moving the ball. You know, one thing that she doesn't want to do is leave that changeup high in the zone.
And Longoria is going to hit this one down the 3rd base line, and that's going to be fair, and she's going to be safe. So a tough play there for Santa Maria.
Next, number 3, Aisa Maldonado.
It's going to be a leadoff single for Longoria. Maldonado now comes to the plate. She's a part of what they could say is the big 3 at Edinburg North, and Maldonado, Lopez, and Hinojosa. All of them seniors, and all of them 4-year lettermans, have been together since the start. Playoff runs, district titles. Maldonado trying to bunt the runner over. That one's foul for strike 1. Again, Edinburg North has its share of seniors sprinkled in with some underclassmen. Maldonado now getting the signs from Tressler over on the 3rd base side. Again, we've seen both teams go to the small ball here. Takes, and that's in for 1 ball and 1 strike. So Maldonado hitting from the right-handed side of the plate. 0 for 1, struck out in her first plate appearance. Hits this one foul and out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Lopez in the on-deck circle. Aguilera struck out the side back in the 1st inning, 1-2-3.
One thing that's been working in Aguilera's favor is that she's really starting ahead, you know. 1-2 count for a lot of these hitters that have come up today. And that's exactly what you want to do. You want to start ahead and get, you know, hitters to chase.
That pitch high missing for ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes to the batter Maldonado with Longoria over on first. And the pitch in the dirt. Counter run full, 3-2. Good AB here from Maldonado. Lopez, Hinojosa, and Ruiz due up 3-4-5, middle of the order. No outs here in the top of the third. And the pitch swung on, and can this one get by? Backhanded by the shortstop. But everyone will be safe. Longoria over to second. And Maldonado
Up
at
next, number
first.
6, Clary Lopez.
Castillo did everything she could deep in the hole to keep that one in front of her. So this brings up Gladys Lopez. 0 for 1 thus far.
Definitely a big stick for Edinburg North. You know, a kid that you really want in this situation with nobody down. Runners on first and second. Oh, wow.
And a good push bunt towards the first base side, trying to avoid the tag. But she's going to be called out at first, but Tressler's pointing to Lopez to tell her to stay on the bag, but the home plate umpire is calling her out.
Pretty surprising call for your third batter in the lineup to call a little push bunt. Of course, Gladys did her job, executed, and moved runners over.
So now there's 1 out. Runners on second and third, both in scoring position for their big bat, Abby Hinojosa. She digs in. That pitch outside for ball 1. And again, this is a pitcher-friendly field to where one swing of the bat, we can talk home run. 225, the dimensions left, right, and center. Good pitch there for strike 1 on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Big opportunity here for Edinburg North to take their first lead of the night with their cleanup hitter at the dish. Both runners in scoring position with 1 out, and Hinojosa hits this one the other way. It's playable on the run, unable to make the grab. Is Fuentes out in right field. Good effort nonetheless. And again, this is where that experience comes through for Hinojosa and Maldonado.
Pitch up, like where the, yeah.
1-2 on the way to Hinojosa. Swing and a miss on the changeup. And an impressive pitch for Aguilera.
So now we know that's Aguilera's go-to. Beautifully executed. Perfect spot. Big out.
Indeed, that is a big out. Now you have 2 down. And the 5-hitter Andrea Ruiz coming to the plate. One of the better changeups we've probably seen all year from Aguilera. Pitch high for ball 1. Ruiz reached on an error and scored back in the second. Again, we are tied at 1-1. Here in the top of the third inning, both runners second and third. That pitch outside. 2 balls and no strikes. The 2-0 swung on, popped up. This one's out of play. 2 balls, 1 strike, now the count. So a pretty sight in center field. You have that hill and you got cars parked up there, people with their long chairs.
That seems like it's the best spot in the house.
Same thing in right field. So it's 1-1 here in the top of the third. Edinburg North threatening. Lady Wolverines have 2 outs. Looking to get out of this inning unscathed. Time called from the hitter Ruiz. She's going to step out of the box. She's ahead in the count. 2 balls, 1 strike. And again, it's early in this one, but a big spot here for both teams. Taking all the way. Counter run even. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Could we look change up here again from Aguilera with 2 strikes? And the pitch low and in the dirt.
You know, one thing you want to do as a hitter in this situation is really take that pitcher out of her comfort zone. Mess up her timing a little bit. Call time, step out of the box, make her throw to you. Own it. Own the box. You're in there. Make her pitch to you.
Count is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the payoff pitch with 2 down. Swung on, popped up. Nice over the shoulder grab by Santa Maria for out number 3. So the Cougars get 2 hits, but they leave 2 on midway through the 3rd inning. We are all tied up at 1. This broadcast is brought to you by the Y Drive-In, open weekly from 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your propane, gas, and groceries. The Y Drive-In service with a smile, located 3.5 miles off 107 in Edinburg. Midway through the 3rd, Edinburg North 1, PSJA Memorial 1. You're listening to 956sports.com. Welcome back. We are in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. This pitch is fouled back right in front of us. For strike 1, Elizondo at the plate. Top of the order, 2, 3, and 4. Bottom half of the 3rd inning in this best of 3 series. Game 1 here in Alamo. That pitch in foul grounds, playable. Unable to get there was Ruiz. Longoria gets ahead in the count quickly. No balls and 2 strikes. So again, the baseball playoffs will continue tomorrow night and into Saturday. A couple of teams still alive. That pitch outside for ball 1, although baseball is a week behind. They're about to get the area round underway. I think the big one here in the Valley would be Valley View and Cal Allen. That's going to be a 1 game. This is going to be a ground ball to the shortstop. Maldonado drops it, picks it back up. Not in time at first. Elizondo is aboard. And much like the previous 2 innings, we've been seeing the leadoff runner getting on base.
Amanda Aguilera.
And how big is that for a coach to have your leadoff man get on base every inning?
Definitely big. I mean, that's your key there. You know, you'll score, I guess, about 90% of the time, pretty much. Oh, that's really nothing you can do there in that situation.
That was a shot hit right back to Longoria and quickly turns the double play. And you're right, not much Elizondo can do there. Those are those plays where you just have to tip your hat. So just like that, there's 2 down. Santa Maria comes to the plate with nobody aboard. Both teams starting to find their grooves here in the 3rd inning. That pitch missing for ball 1.
Santa Maria, a very patient hitter, often takes that first strike.
Pitch outside for ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes to Santa Maria. Maldonado in the on-deck circle. Santa Maria reached on an error back in the 1st inning, but she was stranded on 2nd. for the first time tonight, Longoria falls behind in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. Longoria taking her time. Here's the 3-0. That's in for a called strike 1. Santa Maria thought she had ball 4. But Longoria getting the call on the inside corner. Here's the 3-1. Swung on, and that one's hit hard, but foul.
I think Santa Maria took a little bit of her frustration out on that next pitch.
So Longoria started out the count 3-0. She's now battled back, and we're at a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Bottom of the third. 3-2 payoff pitch swung on. Left center field. On the run, making the grab in left field for Edinburg North. It's Carolina Garcia via a double play in the pop-up. We are through 3. Edinburg North 1, PSJ Memorial 1. This broadcast is brought to you by the Y Drive-In, open weekly from 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your propane, gas, and grocery. The Y Drive-In, service with a smile, located 3.5 miles off of 107. In Edinburg, we are through 3. Edinburg North 1, PSJ Memorial 1. You're listening to 956sports.com.
Batting for the Lady Cougars is number 9, Hope Rodriguez.
That's right. It's the only reason I took the job, actually.
And welcome back to the top of the 4th inning, where we are all tied at 1-1 apiece. Hope Rodriguez leading it off, swinging on the first pitch and foul for strike 1. 6-7-8 is the order up for Edinburg North. So what are your thoughts so far? We're about midway through this one.
You know, initially I thought this was going to be an offensive, game. And really it has been. The ball has been put in play a lot, but it's really coming down to who's making fundamental plays. And right now, we've seen a lot of unearned errors, I would say. Not a lot of unearned runs, but yeah, both that are on there on the scoreboard were unearned. But it's really going to come down to who makes the least amount of errors.
The 1-1 pitch to the third base side. And it's called foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That one a bit questionable looked, because if it was on the inside part, it would be fair, but Edinburg North catching a break there. The lights are on a warm night here in Alamo. Game 2 will be tomorrow night at Edinburg North. First pitch also at 7 o'clock, that pitch outside for ball 2. And game 3, if necessary, will also be at Edinburg North, 12 o'clock noon. But first things first, here at game 1, we're tied at 1, top of the 4th inning. Swung on, hit the other way, off the glove and into right center field. Rodriguez is aboard.
Up next, number 15.
And there goes to what you talked about the routine plays where both teams are struggling to find themselves defensively. But fortunate for both teams, the pitchers have really bailed them out of the jam thus far.
Rodriguez did a great job at really killing that ball over there. That was a shot.
Tough play for Elizondo, the second baseman. This brings up Garcia batting in the 7th spot, the left fielder. She's 0 for 1. She reached on an error from the shortstop and got stranded on second. Showing the bunt, lays it down the third base line. And safe on first, safe on second.
Up next is number 5, Brianna Salinas.
And again, that's been a trend all game long where the leadoff man gets on. So now time is called. Rodriguez trying to catch her breath out there in right center field. So now this brings up Brianna Salinas. And they're going to, both coaches are going to check on Rodriguez out there on the grass in second base. Let's talk real quick about that Weslaco Bobcat series. What are you looking there with those two teams?
You know, those teams, I think they're pretty evenly matched, very, very talented, have some good pitching with Desi at Edinburg High and Taylor over at Weslaco High. It's going to be a pitcher's duel. I really, really believe so. They also have some great sticks, 1 through 9. You know, they've seen each other twice, of course, in district play. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out and ready to play.
And the crazy part is that between both teams, there's only one senior, and that's from Edinburg High.
That's right, Weslaco, very, very young team. Great team chemistry there.
Coached up by Coach Rodriguez, the Lady Panthers. They're going to check on the third base side, and they're going to say she went. First strike, 1.
You know, historically, Edinburg North is known for their short game, and here we are seeing them go to that, trying to move runners over.
And Coach Tressler in his 20th year of coaching, this one's going to be popped up and playable, but unable to get to it in time was Maldonado. No balls, 2 strikes. So Edinburg North has made the playoffs 17 straight years. The only other team in the valley with more, San Benito with 18.
San Benito, a great place. I may be a bit biased, but.
Runners on first and second for Edinburg North. Salinas at the plate, down in the count, 0-2. That pitch outside for ball 1. Got us on the on-deck circle. So the Lady Cougars year in and year out, always in the postseason. And again, PSJA Memorial, this is their first taste of playoff experience in their program history. That pitch high for ball 1. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Salinas battling back in the count. Here's the 2-2. Swung on, hit the other way, but foul. Counter remain at 2-2. So Tofoya is a junior at Weslaco?
Yes, she is.
Just like Marmalejo Desi.
That's right.
Both of them are juniors. Still have 1 more year in them, and they're both in the 3rd round.
Pretty amazing.
The only thing is Weslaco next year goes to 32. So the 31 loses Weslaco and Weslaco East. So that changeup's popped up and made by the shortstop Castillo for out number 1.
Up next is number 11, Maria Garza.
Maria Garza now coming to the plate. So Weslaco and Weslaco East again with the district realignment earlier this year. Moving on to 32-6A next year. And then Edinburg Vela is coming up from 5A over to the 31-6A. So the Edinburg schools will be all together again, and Vela another young squad, just like Edinburg High and Weslaco. That pitch fouled back for strike 1. I believe Vela just has 3 seniors on their roster. Shayla Abbott, their pitcher, was a senior this year. Their catcher, also a senior. So there's plenty of talent here in the Valley, and softball has really grown these past couple of years. That pitch is foul, and a close play there for the Lady Wolverines. Wouldn't you say that the sport has really grown the last few years to where it's always been baseball and now we're seeing a lot more softball?
Definitely. So I would say within the past 10 years, travel ball teams have popped up all around the valley, and talent has really increased. These kids are beginning to get looked at by college recruiters, and that's exciting for the valley.
Swing and a miss, and a big strikeout for Aguilera.
Up next, number 1, Jackie Longoria.
Aguilera once again showing great poise in the circle. It's not even letting that runner on second and first bother her one bit, taking care of business, getting it done.
Back to the top of the order, Longoria swinging on the first pitch into left center field for a base hit. Lady Cougars, here's the play at the plate, not in time. Sliding safe as Rodriguez, play at third. Keeps her foot on the bag and she is safe. That's going to be an RBI single, a double on the throw for Longoria, and Edinburg North takes their first lead of the night, 2-1.
That was a good heads up by Maldonado, trying to get that
Up next,
out
number
at third
3,
base.
Aisa Maldonado.
Good quality hitting by Longoria, of course.
So now runners on second and third for the Lady Cougars. Aisa Maldonado comes to the plate. She's 1 for 2, singled her last time up.
Interesting that time was given there. Aguilera was already in her motion.
Oh, Maldonado digs back in after a called time. That pitch is fouled back. For strike one, Lopez in the on-deck circle. So we have seen a lot of, like you said, the travel teams really starting to pop up throughout the valley, and a lot of these girls playing on travel teams. That's why we get to this time of year where they play 2 games in one day, and people are saying, well, it's too hot, they're too tired. Girls have played 4 games in one day. I'm sure you can testify that as a former player. And at this point in the year, everybody's equally as tired. The back starts to hurt, the arms start to get a little sore. So
Definitely so. It's really going to come down to who wants it. I mean, who's going to show up and work hard and execute and really work well under pressure. And both of these teams have shown that, they deserve to be here.
here's the 0-1. High, 1 ball, 1 strike. The count will run even to Maldonado. And again, another big spot for Edinburg North. They've been in this situation before, and Aguilera has been able to get out of the jams with both runners in scoring position. Here in the top of the 4th, Edinburg North leading 2-1. Looking to add to that here. This one's fouled back and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Count. Now we're starting to see softball in junior high, and I think that's a big step up for the Valley. Kids now be able to participate with their schools at the junior highs, and hopefully one day we've been pushing for softball at UTRGV. That would be something.
That's really what the Valley needs.
I'm really thinking it. One of these days the Valley can create a super team and all of them go to UTRGV.
That's right.
I think that would be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun. You get all these kids from the Valley, really. The 2-2 swung on, base hit back up the middle from Maldonado. It's going to score 1. Tressler sending the second run. The relay not in time. 2-run single for the senior Maldonado.
Up next, number 6, Gladys Lopez.
And Edinburg North takes a 4-1 lead. And a big at-bat there for Aisa Maldonado.
Aguilera left that pitch a little too much over the plate. Maldonado took full advantage. Great shot up the middle. Good timely hitting.
It's going to be a 2-run single. Maldonado now 2 for 3 on the night. Time called from the Lady Wolverines. They're having a meeting on the mound. It's 4-1 now in the top of the 4th inning. And again, a 2-out rally here from Edinburg North. This brings up Gladys Lopez. She's 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the first and a sack in the third. First pitch swung on, fouled back for strike one.
Edinburg North has really been attacking that first pitch all night.
They've scored 49 runs coming into this ball game in the first 2 rounds of the series. They swept Harlingen, then went to 3 games with Nikki Rowe. So their offense starting to feel it here. Here's the 0-1. Ground ball to the shortstop, routine play over to second, and she's out at second for the force play. And that'll end the inning, but the Lady Cougars at 3 in the top of the 4th, midway through the 4th. Edinburg North leads PSJA Memorial 4-1. This broadcast is brought to you by the Y Drive-In, open weekly from 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your propane, gas, and grocery. The Y Drive-In, service with a smile, located on 3.5 miles off of 107 in Edinburg. Midway through the 4th, Edinburg North 4, PSJA Memorial 1. You're listening to 956sports.com. Welcome back to the broadcast. Bottom of the 4th inning. Game 1 of this best of 3 series between Edinburg North and PSJA Memorial. So again, the conversation about the talent-wise here in the Valley, where we're starting to see teams start to compete with the teams up in the Coastal Bend, teams in the San Antonio areas. And I think that's why a lot of people will favor the baseball, softball, soccer, really, when it comes to the Valley schools competing against the teams up north, because we all know football. We get to round 3, San Antonio schools where we say, okay, it was a good season. Let's just go out there. That pitch is going to be foul. Victoria May Maldonado leading it off. Struck out in the first. 5-6-7. So where size really doesn't matter in these sports is what we've come to see. Teams go on deep playoff runs in both baseball and in softball. And then, of course, we saw soccer this year. Brownsville Porter winning the state championship in the 5A. Progreso making the state championship but losing in the 4A. And Brownsville Lopez in the 6A falling in the Final Four. And, of course, last year we had Brownsville Rivera in the 6A winning the state championship. That pitch is outside. Count will run full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And, of course, we've seen the Hidalgo Pirates go on deep runs last year. They were a game away from making the Elite 8. They fell to El Campo. That pitch fouled off. Sliding, unable to make the grab.
Great effort by Hinojosa.
How tough is it for a catcher to throw off your mask and spot that ball?
I'd say it's pretty tough, and especially to get out of that squatting position.
So the count will remain full, 3-2. So again, two fairly young teams that will meet up again next year. PSJA Memorial staying in the 31-6A. Swung on, that's going to be a base hit, leadoff single, just what the Lady Wolverines needed. Maldonado gets aboard on a leadoff single.
Up next is number 8, Dominic Bona Cantu.
Now this brings up the senior, Dominique Cantu. She's 1 for 1 with a single back in the second inning. Her second plate appearance here. That pitch outside for ball 1. I spoke to her in an interview earlier this week, and as a senior, she said this has been such a special ride for them not making the playoffs at all, and finally her senior year, she's starting to see everything come together. And she said, we were close in the previous years. We just fell one game out. We were close. We were knocking on the door, and this year we finally broke through, made the playoffs. That pitch fouled, or rather popped up. And an easy play there for Longoria. One down, a runner on. Garcia comes to the plate. She's 1 for 1.
Number 16, Emily Garcia.
In the bottom half of the fourth inning, the Lady Cougars lead 4-1. Again, in this best of 3 series. It's in for a called strike 1. Garcia showing bunt right out of the gate with 1 down. The 0-1's inside and called strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes.
You know, I truly believe that this is a very different PSJA Memorial team that we've ever seen, I think. These kids play with a lot of intensity, a lot of heart. They got a lot of enthusiasm, work for each other, and it's shown.
And they're battle tested. That's another thing about this district, where each week it's a battle. And a called strike 3 looking for out number 2.
Up next, number 7,
Third strikeout
Ashley Castillo.
of the night for Longoria. Ashley Castillo coming to the plate. The last time these two met was in the second round of district, where Edinburg North just barely won 2-1. So you saw the growth from PSJA Memorial, really just growing up before our eyes. And here they are in the third round. 2 down, 1 man on. 1 ball, 1 strike. Samantha Fuentes in the on-deck circle. 9-1-2, top of the order, due up for the Lady Wolverines. That pitch missing for ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. Longoria pitched all 3 games in that area round matchup against Nikki Rowe. Pitch outside for ball 3. And again, they have a number 2 pitcher in Aisa Maldonado, who went 5-1 on the year, kept her ERA under 2. Also threw a no-hitter in the mix. And there's another base hit back up the middle. And with 2 outs, a rally here for PSJA Memorial. Maldonado slides over to second. Castillo will be on first.
Up next, number 3, Sam Fuentes.
For Fuentes here, you just want to get on base and get back to that top of the order. You want to give Alanis a shot. Golden opportunity here for the Lady Wolverines. Fuentes is 0 for 1, flew out in the second inning on a pop-up to the shortstop. First pitch is in for a called strike 1.
Jackie really getting in her rhythm right now.
That's going to be caught by the second baseman, Salinas. And after 2 hits, PSJA Memorial strands 2. We are through 4. Lady Wolverines 1, Edinburg North 4. This broadcast is brought to you by The Y Drive-In, open weekly from 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your propane, gas, and groceries at the Y Drive-In, service with a smile, located 3.5 miles off of 107 in Edinburg through 4, Edinburg North 4, PSJ Memorial 1. You're listening to 956sports.com. And welcome back to Alamo on 956sports.com. Kevin Aro joined by our special guest, head coach of San Benito, Christy Leal. We are in the top of the fifth inning. Edinburg North leading 4-1. Thank you for tuning in. 4-5-6. Abby Hinojosa leading it off for the Lady Cougars. Aguilera back out into the circle. First pitch swung on, and that one's well out of here, but well foul. And softball, some people say on the mound. It kind of fools me because there is no mound. It's more of in the circle. What do you say?
I'd say the circle.
I say the circle too. And when I do the highlights, I'll say in the circle rather than saying on the mound. Technically, there is no mound. That pitch fouled away the other way. No balls, 2 strikes. A 4-1 Lady Cougar lead in the top of the fifth. Lady Cougars scored 3 runs in the fourth, 1 run in the second, after PSJ Memorial took an early 1-0 lead in the first. And that one hacked at it and fouled. Staying alive in the count is Hinojosa. And I think coming into the series, a lot of people knew that this one really could go either way because, again, the teams are so familiar with each other. And you have one team that has kind of been there, done that, and you have another team where this is all new to them, but they're playing like they've been here before. The 0-2 is high for ball 1. So again, game 2 will be tomorrow night at Edinburg North. First pitch also slated for 7 o'clock. And the off speed is low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ruiz Rodriguez Garcia, the batters due up for Edinburg North. That pitch missing low. And Hinojosa has battled back. The count is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Hinojosa is 0 for 1. Struck out in her last at-bat. Reached on an error back in the second. She shoots this one the other way. This one's over the right fielder's glove, and this is going to be extra bases for Hinojosa.
Big at-bat for Abby. Laid off those 2 off-speed pitches and then comes up big, going to right field. That's what you want from that experienced player.
Yeah, and the impressive part is she went opposite field with it. A lot of people
2, Jessica Diaz.
Jessica Diaz now in as a courtesy runner, and that's what you see. You know, a lot of people that watch and they see somebody
next
pull the
is number
ball
20,
and they get
Andrea
amazed by
Reyes.
it. I, on the other hand, get amazed more when you see somebody go the other way with it.
Definitely going to oppo is, what you want to do.
So now the Lady Cougars in business with a runner in scoring position with Diaz on second. Time called from PSJ Memorial. Ruiz, now the batter, chatting with her head coach, Richard Tressler.
That right there might have been the momentum shift. We see Edinburg North getting excited over there in their dugout.
Ruiz is 0 for 1. Flew out in the third, reached on an error in the second, and scored the first run for Edinburg North. That pitch high for ball 1. Hope Rodriguez in the on-deck circle. Edinburg North looking to pad their lead. They lead 4-1 here in the top of the 5th.
Rodriguez squaring up to bunt, looking like she's wanting to move that runner over, get her, a little bit closer to home plate.
And the pitch is high for ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. And you mentioned earlier Edinburg North is doing a really good job on really not chasing anything and kind of working the pitcher a little bit, going deep into counts. The 2-0. In for a called strike 1.
And I think that's why they're getting their timely hits in the holes. They're looking for something that they can drive. They're not just swinging at any type of strike.
2-1 again, showing the bunt, but it rolls foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count. So the case here for these 4 teams that are left, we were talking about it earlier before the game, that if indeed we were to see the Valley schools meet up again, it would be in the regional final, something we saw earlier this year in the 5A with soccer. We saw Pace and Porter play each other in Corpus for a chance to go to the Final Four. That's the same case here with both teams obviously out of the same region, but in 2 different brackets. So you could get a PSJ Memorial and a Weslaco. You can get a EHS and an Edinburg North. Any of these 4 teams can eventually meet up in the regional final. Ball 4 is high. Ruiz is going to take the free pass over to first. This brings up Rodriguez.
Next is number 9, Hope Rodriguez.
First walk of the night surrendered. Through 4 innings pitched. Not bad for your first free pass for Aguilera. Rodriguez digs in. No gloves, hitting from the right-handed side. Again, showing bunt down the third base side. Drops the ball, safe everywhere. The runners first, second, and third. Santa Maria couldn't handle that one, so Hinojosa to third, Ruiz to second.
And that's exactly what you want when you start using that small ball. You want to put the pressure on the defense and make them make errors. Big inning for Edinburg North right now. Nobody down, bases loaded.
So Carolina Garcia comes to the plate. She's 1 for 2, reached on an error in the second, singled and scored a run in the fourth, and you're exactly right. Bases loaded, nobody down, and a golden opportunity for Edinburg North here to extend their lead here in game 1 on the road. Good eye there from Garcia. She wanted to go at it, but she held back.
If Edinburg North can pull off the win tonight, that'd be huge for them. You always want to go to somebody's house and, get a win there.
That pitch is swung on, caught for the first out and over to first, but not in time. But a big out number 1 made by the second baseman Elizondo. So 1 out in the inning. This brings up Brianna Salinas.
Good heads-up play by Elizondo right there, shooting to one.
So Salinas throws with her right, bats from the left. That pitch outside for ball one, and again, still a big opportunity here for Edinburg North with just one down, but a key first out for PSJ Memorial. That pitch taken for strike one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Got us out in the on-deck circle. Swung on. This is going to be a base hit back up the middle from Salinas. Scores 1. Tressler's going to hold the runner on third. And it's 5-1 off the RBI single from Brianna Salinas.
Up next, number 11, Maria Garza.
So the runners will all move over, and now Maria Garza comes to the plate. She's the only Cougar who has not reached base tonight. 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts in the second and in the fourth. Now you're starting to see the infield starting to come in. They're going to want to get that out at home. 1 ball, no strikes. Longoria waiting in the on-deck circle, top of the order for Edinburg North. Holding up on it. Count goes 2-0. And you're right, this all started with that Hinojosa opposite field double.
Like I said, when an experienced player gets it going, that fires everybody up.
The 2-0 is outside. Count goes to 3-0. Favorable count here. So this is a unique spot here. Do you take or you swing away?
Definitely take. Bases loaded. And there's why.
There you go. Walks in a run.
Up next, number 1, Jackie Longoria.
Some coaches would give the girl or the guy a green light. 3-0. Bases loaded. 1 out. Have something to play with. So it's now a 6-1 lead. So let's talk a little bit more about EHS and Weslaco, and 2 really premier powers here in the Valley. Edinburg High always in the playoffs, and again, Weslaco so young and so much talent over there. What are your thoughts on Weslaco?
Weslaco, that team has, those kids have been playing together since they were, I'd say, about 7 years old. They know each other, like the back of their hand, and they just play well together. They have a lot of keys to their success. They got a lot of speed. They got kids that can hit for power and quality pitching, and I really think that's what's taken them far this year. Last year, we had a lot of freshmen on that team and sophomores. This year, we have more of that junior leadership, so it's really paying off for Weslaco right now.
And last year, they did go to 3 games against Brownsville Veterans in a series I did cover, and that was a crazy series. We had the lights go out. I think it was in Game 3, so we had about a 30, 40-minute delay. And then Veterans came back, Weslaco came back, and it was a great atmosphere.
I think the lights going out was a conspiracy.
That was Game 3, though, right?
Yes, it was.
So I remember Game 2, it was hot. It was about midday. And then Weslaco, I think they forced a Game 3.
Yeah, 10-0.
That's right.
10-0 score there.
That's right. Yeah, I had to type up a quick article for Game 2, send it in, and gear up for Game number 3, and that one was a good one.
It really is exciting, though, to see success at Weslaco High again. A quality team right now. So we'll see how they do against Edinburg High. Of course, historically, Edinburg High, very successful in the past years.
And really all across the board, Weslaco has just dominated 31-6A the last few years in football. Coach Fino with basketball. They made a Sweet 16 appearance.
I think they've done it again this year with many district titles once again.
So new pitcher of the game, Ashley Castillo, comes into the ball game.
Castillo, also a senior, an experienced player on this ball club.
So Aguilera goes 4 1/3. As Ashley Castillo is the new pitcher. 1 ball, 1 strike to Longoria. Swing and a miss for strike 2.
Castillo showing great poise in the circle, not even letting that bases loaded affect her one bit. Just going up there and pitching.
So Castillo moves over from shortstop to pitcher. Called strike 3, pain in the outside corner, and Castillo gets a strikeout on the first batter she faces.
How exciting for your second pitcher to come out and pick up your other senior. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's what you need. When your number is called, you got to be ready to go.
So now Aisa Maldonado, who had that 2-run single back in the 4th, comes to the plate. She's 2 for 3. And again, bases full of Cougars. Castillo painting the outside corner for strike 1. 6-1, Edinburg North, top of the 5th. This game far from being over. Crazier things have happened. That pitch is in the dirt, and the runners are going to hold up. Weslaco football did run the table this year. Coach Tony Villarreal. They won district. Their boys basketball team did a number 2. I think they won district as well.
They did.
They came back to win that district, really. Edinburg North was in the lead for the majority of the season. Swing and a miss for a big strike 2. I think, though, Brownsville veterans may make a case for Program of the Year, as every single sport, from golf to football, made the playoffs this year over at Brownsville Veterans. The pitch low and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Castillo, the new pitcher, in. Top of the 5th. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Castillo. Gets out of the jam. The Cougars plate 2 more. Midway through the 5th. Edinburg North 6. PSJ Memorial 1. This broadcast is brought to you by Y Drive-In. Open weekly from 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your propane, gas, and groceries. The Y Drive-In service with a smile. Located 3.5 miles off of 107 in Edinburg. Middle of the 5th. Edinburg North 6. PSJ Memorial 1. You're listening to 956sports.com. Welcome back to the broadcast. Kevin Aro alongside Christy Leal. Bottom of the 5th inning. The Lady Cougars lead 6-1. Top of the order for the Lady Wolverines. If they're going to want to get a rally going, it's going to have to come off the bat of this freshman, Christy Alanis, who is 1 for 2. Takes the first pitch for a called strike 1. if you want to catch up with 956 Sports, you can follow us on Twitter at 956 Sports. Like us on Facebook, 956 Sports. Also on Instagram at 956 Sports. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 all on ace. Bottom of the 5th. That pitch well outside.
And we know Christie likes to slap for power, and this defense is really respecting that. Not crashing very much. Giving her some space.
So now she's battled back to a 3-ball, 2-strike count. An hour and a half on my watch. And this one. Ground ball to the second baseman, Salinas, over to first. And in time, a routine play, 4-3.
Up next, number 2, Eliza Elizondo.
Eliza Elizondo comes to the plate. 1 for 2 on the night, grounded out in the first. Got a single in the third. Longoria sets, and that pitch misses for ball 1. So on the bottom of the 5th inning here, we play 7. And again, this is the only softball game going on tonight. Really the only high school event sport-wise going on in the Valley tonight. That pitch had some good movement, swing and a miss. For strike 1, 1 ball and 1 strike. Pitch swung on, hard hit ball center field, but right to the center fielder, Lopez. Those have to be frustrating where you hit the ball hard, but you hit it right to the fielder.
Next, number 27, Amanda Aguilera.
Definitely, that was a good shot over there by Maldonado.
So Aguilera comes to the plate. She went 4 1/3 for the Lady Wolverines. She's 0 for 2 tonight with a pop-up and a ground out. Heading this one foul on the first base side. No balls, 2 strikes. Santa Maria waiting in the on-deck circle.
Alonso Peña and Emilio.
Pitch out for ball number 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes now. So we've seen teams win a game 1, but then lose games 2 and 3, and another hard hit ball to center field on the run.
What a grab by Glady. Great speed.
There's that athleticism we talked about. The 2-sport athlete, Glady Lopez, making the out. 1, 2, 3. Lady Wolverines go down in order. We are through 5. Edinburg North 6. PSJ Memorial 1. This game is brought to you by the Y Drive-In. Y Drive-In is open weekly from 5 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your propane, gas, and grocery. The Y Drive-In, service with a smile, located 3.5 miles off of 107 in Edinburg. So we are through 5. Edinburg North leads 6-1. You're listening to 956sports.com. And welcome back to the broadcast here in Alamo Cabanaro, joined by Christy Leal. Top of the sixth, Edinburg North leads 6-1. We'd like to thank our sponsors, the Y Drive-In, sponsored this series, which we will be back tomorrow for Game 2 and potentially a Game 3. But right now, the Lady Cougars lead comfortably 6-1. Claudia Lopez, who made that grab out in center field, leads it off for Edinburg North. Castillo back in the circle for the Lady Wolverines. First pitch missing for ball one. That one hit to the second baseman. 4-3. Easy put out for out number one. Elizondo over to Cantu.
Next is number 7, Abby Hinojosa.
With the game winding down here, it's important that these Lady Wolverines really make those routine plays, keep kids off the bases, and then, come get it done on offense.
So, Hinojosa comes to the dish, had that big leadoff double in the last inning that really got that rally started. Swinging on the first pitch again, right center field. On the run is Alanis. This one's going to fall in for a base hit. Second hit of the night for Hinojosa.
Up next is number 20, Andrea Ruiz.
Andrea Ruiz now comes to the plate. She's 0 for 1. Reached on an error. Scored 2 runs back in the second
Courtesy
and
runner
in the
number
fifth.
2, Jessica Diaz.
Jessica Diaz, again, the courtesy runner for Hinojosa. 5, 6, 7. The order up for Edinburgh North. So how big is it to come out here on the road and get, for any team really, to take a Game 1 win in a best-of-3 series?
Game 1, that's the key. You really want to win that first game and get the momentum on your side. Get your kids pumped and excited to come out on Game 2 and take care of business. And, in Edinburgh North's case, they get to go home, where they're comfortable and get it done, if that's the case here tonight.
And again, stranger things have happened. Ground ball to the second base. Can they turn 2? 4, 6, 3. Double play and a much-needed double play there for PSJ Memorial. Tailor-made. And just like that, midway through the 6th, Edinburgh North 6, PSJ Memorial 1. You're listening to 956sports.com. Welcome back to the broadcast, coming to you live from Alamo, 956sports.com. This broadcast presented by the Y Drive-In. Edinburgh North leading 6-1 in this best-of-3 series. Leading it off is Santa Maria for the Lady Wolverines. Reached on an error in the first, flew out in the third. Jackie Longoria still in the game for Edinburgh North. That pitch in, 1 ball and 1 strike. Maldonado in the on-deck circle. This was going to squeeze through into left field for a leadoff single.
Exactly what PSJ Memorial needed. Getting that first kid on.
Up next, number 25, Victoria Maldonado.
Yeah, if you're going to have any shot of a comeback, you need to get your leadoff man on base, and that's exactly what PSJ Memorial did. Now we have a courtesy runner in.
Courtesy runners number 4, Carmen Trevino.
Carmen Trevino, the courtesy runner now. Coach is looking to put some speed on the base paths. Maldonado 1 for 2 on the night, a strikeout in the first and a hit in the fourth. First pitch back to Longoria over to first. And again, Longoria turning the double play.
Big play for Edinburg North right there, Longoria.
Next is number
Great
8,
reaction.
Dominic Monacantu.
Good heads up, turning one.
And that's the second time we've seen her do that tonight, and that's really a momentum killer for PSJ Memorial. They get their lead runner on, and then again you get a shot right back to the pitcher. And Longoria smoothly turns 2 for the second time tonight. Now Tressler is out in the circle. I keep wanting to say on the mound, but it's in the circle. I need to get that in my head. In the circle, really.
PSJA Memorial really staying away from that short game. You know, here in this game, I think you really need to start putting pressure on and just making those errors come.
That's something that Edinburg North did early on. They established that they wanted to do the small game, kind of putting the pressure on the defense.
And looking at that scoreboard, I think it's paid off a bit for them.
Swinging on the first pitch. That's going to be a base hit into center field for Dominique Cantu. It's her second hit of the night. She's 2 for 3. This brings up the 7th hitter, Emily Garcia. She's 1 for 2 on the night.
Emily Garcia.
A single in the second and a strikeout in the 4th inning. So again, a runner aboard for PSJ Memorial. Trying to muster up a comeback here. In the bottom half of the 6th inning, they'll have one more shot in the 7th. They'd have to start chipping away now. 2 down, a runner on.
Wow, interesting call with 2 down. You know, now we're seeing the small ball. This field, there's a lot of green to be seen. So anything getting into a gap, that's, you know, that's no man's land right there. That's really what PSJ Memorial wants to be thinking right now.
So the count runs even. 1 ball, 1 strike. Garcia, the batter. That pitch swung on, hit to left field. Backing up, making the catch in left field. For a second there, it looked as if it was going to get over Garcia's head, but she made the adjustment and made the out. So after a double play and a pop-up, PSJ Memorial strands 1. We are through 6. Edinburg North 6, PSJ Memorial 1. This broadcast is brought to you by the Y Drive-In, open weekly from 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your propane, gas, and grocery at the Y Drive-In service with a smile, located 3.5 miles off 107. In Edinburg, we are through 6. Edinburg North 6, PSJ Memorial 1. You're listening to 956sports.com.
over there.
Welcome back to the broadcast booth. Kevin Arrow joined by LSU fanatic Christy Leal,
That's right. Go Tigers.
wearing the enemy purple. LSU softball doing pretty well.
Yep. That big win against Texas A&M yesterday. Today they beat University of Kentucky onto the SEC semifinals.
So plenty going on in the world of softball. Backhanded over to first, not in time, but showing off the range there from Aguilera.
Incredible effort by Aguilera there. Great backhand. And that's a
Next is
senior.
number 15, Carolina Garcia.
So Carolina Garcia comes to the plate. 6-1 Cougar lead. Swinging on the first pitch. Chopper to the shortstop. Aguilera again shows off the arm. Safe at first.
You know, with a ball hit like that, you really want to charge.
Next
It's,
is number 5,
it's tough to play
Brianna
something that's
Salinas.
so high up in the air, but you really got to charge that and just try your best to get that out. Aguilera, great effort. Showing off her arm.
Which brings up the conversation between the difference between the turf and the dirt. I've never played on turf. Had you ever played on turf before?
Never. But I would imagine, I mean, to me, turf is not real softball. You're getting, you know, true hops that, I mean, I just feel like baseball and softball are made for dirt and grass.
Absolutely. We're at Chelsea is a school that has turf. I was thinking of what school had turf that I was at recently, and at Chelsea moved over to turf, both baseball and softball. PSJA was, I think, one of the first, and Broma also. So some of the players, it does take some time getting used to. No balls, 2 strikes to the batter, Salinas. Runners on first and second.
I must say, though, turf does look beautiful.
And the pitch outside for ball 2. Also, it kind of solves the issue when you have rainouts, because last year, throughout the baseball playoffs, we had a lot of rain delays and a lot of teams moving over to PSJA, which we were there for the Sweet 16 matchup with Edinburg High, and I called strike 3 for out number 1. That day was probably one of the longest days we've had on covering a sport. We
Next
came
is
back from
number
San
11,
Antonio that
Maria
night
Garza.
between Edinburg High and San Antonio Johnson. The next day, the game started out at Edinburg Baseball Stadium. We moved it over to PSJA, where we were in a lengthy rain delay. It was pouring rain. Jake and I were stuck up in the press box for hours. Finally had enough courage to make a run for the car. We both go home, and later we find out, we get a text from Coach Valdez that the game was still going to go on, and it was moved to La Feria. So we started in Edinburg, ended up in PSJA, then went all the way over to La Feria. I think the game ended up close to midnight. Bouncer back to the pitcher, over to first. Not in time, but they do get the lead runner.
Good heads up
Up
by
next is number
Castillo
1,
there,
Jackie Longoria.
getting that lead runner.
So,
And, of course, Santa Maria showing off her arm again.
so it's 2 down, back to the top of the order. Jackie Longoria comes to the plate. 2 strikeouts on the night, also with a pair of hits. 2 singles in the third and in the fourth, also scored a run. So a very active night for the leadoff batter. Chopper to the shortstop, going over to the third. Not in time. That's going to load the bases.
Aguilera thinking that's really the only play that she could make. With 2 down, I'm thinking 1 all the way.
I was looking 1 all the
Up
way,
next,
but
number 3,
that play
Aisa
again
Maldonado.
closest to Santa Maria over at third. So now we're back to a bases loaded situation. Aisa Maldonado came through in her last AB. Back in the fourth, struck out in the fifth. She's 2 for 4. That pitch taken for ball 1. So it was a very eventful day that day back last year in the Sweet 16. Johnson went on to sweep the series. But long day of baseball. Swing and a miss.
And like you said, we have been blessed this year to not have, I think, any rainouts, really.
Not yet. Hopefully it stays that way. 'Cause then you really start juggling with these games, and sometimes fields might get flooded, and then you'd have to start moving games, and it becomes a really big mess. That pitch is fouled off. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Castillo did a good job last inning getting out of that bases loaded jam. Continuing to work hard and get her team back in the box, ready to score some runs.
And again, to your point earlier about the experience with the seniors, and again, Maldonado, one of those big three with Unojosa and Lopez, all of them have had an impact on this game. And that's kind of one of those benefits you have as a head coach. You have experience on your club. Pitch high for ball
And,
2.
you know, to have experience in the circle, that's really what you want. And for these kids to pick each other up in a big playoff game, I mean, Coach Rodriguez over there is truly blessed.
This should be out number 3. Over to third for the force out. And PSJ Memorial gets out of the inning unscathed. Midway through the 7th, the last shot for the Lady Wolverines to make a comeback. Edinburg North 6, PSJ Memorial 1. This broadcast is brought to you by the Y Drive-In service. With a smile, located on 3.5 miles off of 107 in Edinburg. Go to the Y Drive-In weekly, open weekly from 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your gas, propane, and groceries. The Y Drive-In. Midway through the 7th, Edinburg North 6, PSJ Memorial 1. You're listening to 956sports.com. Welcome back to the broadcast booth. Bottom of the 7th, last shot for the Lady Wolverines to make a comeback and steal one here in game 1 of this best-of-3 series. It's going to start with the 8th batter, Ashley Castillo, 8-9-1. The order due up for the Lady Wolverines. First pitch missing for ball 1.
Again, a senior leading off things for PSJ Memorial. The key is getting this kid on and starting that momentum, getting it going and getting these Lady Wolverines fired up.
1 ball, 1 strike is the count. That pitch fouled for strike 2.
You know, again, key is really not chasing strikes that you do not hit well. You know, going up to bat, you want to know what you're looking for, something that you can drive.
Count runs even at 2 balls, 2 strikes. So once again, I'm joined by San Benito head coach Christy Leao, bringing you the game live here in Alamo. Count runs full, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Game 1 of a best-of-3 series on 956sports.com, brought to you by the Y Drive-In. And the Lady Cougars 3 outs away from taking game 1 of this series. Ground ball to Rodriguez at third, over to first and in time. 5-3 put out. 1 down in the inning. Now
next,
Samantha
number 3,
Fuentes
Sam Fuentes.
comes to the plate.
Rodriguez making that play look easy and routine.
At Edinburg North. Why not? Who said? Who said?
That pitch is in for a called strike one. And you talk about the home team going up 1-0 in a series, going back home to where they're familiar with it. It's a unique park over at Edinburg North. It's a little bit different. A lot smaller, of course, than here in Alamo. But again, the hitters are more familiar with the dimensions, and it really favors the right-handed hitters. That pitch foul, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, I think tomorrow's game plan is really going to be putting that ball on the ground and forcing, you know, both teams to make errors. It's a small ballpark and considerably small compared to PSJ Memorial.
That's a pop-up, shallow center field. Lopez camping under it and makes the out. 2 down, and now
Up next,
the Lady
number
Wolverines
89,
down to their
Christy Alanis.
final out and back to the top of the order, and their speedster, Christy Alanis, who was 1 for 2 on the night, singled and scored a run in the first, has been the only run thus far from the Lady Wolverines. Grounded out in the 5th. First pitch inside for ball 1.
It's exciting watching this kid play. She's got a lot of power for a lefty slapper.
That pitch missing.
And here's our experience showing. Abby going out to the circle to talk to Longoria, getting her to calm down and take care of this game. We're down to the last out, 2-0 count.
And it's almost in a way of where you really have a coach on the field with so much experience where Tressler really doesn't have to call time and go out and tell Longoria to settle down when Hinojosa has that experience and do exactly with what you just said. So 2 down in the inning, 2 balls, no strikes to the batter, Alanis. That pitch painting the outside corner for strike 1.
And there you go. That's where it worked.
Swung on. That's going to be a base hit into left field. And Alanis is going to keep this one going. That's her second hit of the night.
Number 2, Eliza Elizondo.
Elizondo comes to the plate. 1 for 3 on the night with a base hit in the 3rd. Flew out in the 5th and grounded out in the 1st. Just in case if you're keeping score. First pitch missing low for ball 1.
Elizondo also a freshman on this PSJ Memorial ball team.
The 1-0. Fair ball to the third base side. Rodriguez fires over to first. Out at first. 5-3 put out. And that's your ball game. Edinburg North comes into Alamo and defeats PSJ Memorial by a final score of 6-1. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with a quick post-game show. You're listening to 956sports.com. Welcome back to Alamo, and the final score in Game 1 of a best-of-3 series. Edinburg North goes on to win this one by a final score of 6-1. PSJ Memorial took an early 1-0 lead. Christy Alanis scored that first run of the ballgame. Then Edinburg North tied it at 1 in the second inning. Then the Lady Cougars took a 3-1 lead, or rather a 4-1 lead in the fourth, and then scored 2 more in the fifth. Some timely hitting from the seniors of Edinburg North. Jackie Longoria goes the distance, 3 strikeouts, no walks. And the starter for PSJ Memorial, Aguilera, went 4 1/3. Then we saw Castillo come in and finish it off. So, Coach, before we go off and wrap this one up, what were your thoughts on Game 1?
I think, Edinburg North came out swinging away. They were aggressive at the plate, and that really paid off for them. They really executed and put the pressure on PSG Memorial's defense, and it showed. I mean, errors were the key in this game. There were a lot of unearned runs, and I think that, tomorrow PSG Memorial needs to come out a little more defensively sound and really put the pressure on Edinburg North with that small ball. Overall, I think, Edinburg North, Jackie Longoria did a great job in the circle. And I was really impressed with the way that the PSJ Memorial kids picked each other up in the circle as well. Both teams very deserving to be here, like I said before. But tonight, that win, Edinburg North really got it there.
So the Lady Cougars, again, take Game 1 of this best-of-3 series. And that's something that we saw early on from Edinburg North. They really took advantage of that small ball. And early on, both teams came out a little shaky on the defensive side. And you said it's going to come down to who makes, the most errors. And really, at the beginning of this game, both teams were doing that, and Edinburg North finally kind of settled down, took some pitches, and got some runs on that board. And again, we go back to the seniors that really stepped up. Glady made that catch in center field. Aisa came up with that 2-run single, and then, Hossa got that rally going the other way with it. So once again, a final here in Alamo. The Edinburg North Lady Cougars take Game 1 by a final score of 6-1. Coach, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Just excited to see who comes out, shows up tomorrow. The pressure's on definitely for PSG Memorial down 1 and going into Edinburg North's house. But, these kids have shown a lot of intensity and a lot of fight this year. So I think that they'll come out, ready to attack and ready to get their first W of the series.
And again, tomorrow will also be Game 1 of a best-of-3 series between the Edinburg Bobcats. They travel to Weslaco on the other side of the playoff picture. Once again, this broadcast is brought to you by the Y Drive-In, open weekly from 5:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Get your propane, gas, and groceries. The Y Drive-In, service with a smile, located 3.5 miles off of 107 in Edinburg. So on behalf of myself, Christy Leal, and 956sports.com, we're saying so long and good night from Alamo with a final score, Edinburg North 6, PSJ Memorial 1.